Hold on, I'm going live on YouTube again. And okay, so you've seen this image before, um, because after Savior's Day week, the question on everybody's mind was, what's next? And of course, that's still the question. What's next? After all of this, what's next? Now, of course, I use this image because uh, it's an image from nature. It shows how things get started, where the sperm meets an egg, and then what's next? A whole new reality unfolds. That's what's next. The life of a sperm, well, I guess it's a life of a sort. The life of an egg gets transformed into something that was unimaginable before. So, what idea does that sperm have about what's next? What's going to happen to me? What idea does the egg have? What's next? What's going to happen to me? They have no idea. But we know, because we are standing as the result of this encounter.
Yes, sir.
Here we are as human beings in the image and likeness of God. That's what's next. For this sperm, for this egg, what's next? You get to be in the image and likeness of God. That's what's next. Beyond your imagination. And so, how does this all get started? Well, in the beginning was the Word. So this is the original dialogue, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
The sperm comes with its genetic code, its genetic language, its genetic word, and engages in a dialogue. You could say an intercourse with the egg cell. And so the interaction of language, genetic codes, results in something new being developed. And the ultimate development, of course, is the human being. So if everybody wants to know what's next, well, what's in your genetic code? Yeah, I'm asking you for real. What's in your genetic code? What is your knowledge base? What is your wisdom base? What is your intention? What was the intention of this sperm when it was first released? And where's all the other sperm that was released at the same time? Why is this the one that's at the gate of a new reality? And what happened to all the other ones? Well, you can forget about all the other ones. And the only one that matters is the one that made it to the gate. So what's next is determined by what's in the head of this sperm and what's at the center of the egg. And that's the beginning of the dialogue. That's the beginning of the development. That's the beginning of the new world that is beyond the imagination of the present world. And so what are we really talking about in the here and now? We're talking about the hereafter. We're talking about the hereafter. We are talking about what's next. What's next after this world? Well, it's going to be right here after this old world is gone. And you can see that this old world is going fast.
Yep.
So what are you going to do? Mourn and grieve and cry over the loss of the old world and the people who belong to the old world, even your own family? Are you going to grieve over them because they are lost? Or are you going to prepare yourself for the new world to come. See, it's your choice. Is this a time of grieving or joy? It's both a great and a dreadful day. Dreadful for whom? Well, I guess all the other sperm that didn't make it. It's dreadful for them because they are going out of existence forever. And whatever potential they may have had has been lost forever because they didn't make the grade. So what's next? Well, it depends on what's in your head. And so during this week, this month of a national deliberative dialogue, we have found out what's in the head of some of our people. Mm. And we found out that what's in the heads of some of our people is very, very good, full of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Outstanding. And then, of course, we found that in the heads of some of our people is pure foolishness, pure ignorance. In some cases, pure insanity and confusion. And so I thought that the best thing to do today, after a month of this launch of a national deliberative dialogue, that we ought to do a review. That's one of the fundamentals of dialogue. After you do the dialogue session, then you do a critique. How effective was the dialogue? What was the topic of the dialogue? Was the issue resolved? Was consensus achieved? And then, of course, for what purpose? Which, again, is the same question. What's next? What do we do this for? Just because it's fun? Just because we like to talk? What did we do it for? And so that's what I wanted to do today is a review of some of the national deliberative dialogue that's taken place over the last month. And I think it's appropriate because today is the equinox, when the earth is in balance, when the night and the day are equal in length. And so this is a great time to take a balanced look at what has been achieved. Because one of the ways to answer the question as to what's next, well, what has already been achieved? What has already been accomplished? Because sometimes people go in circles because they don't actually notice that they already accomplished what they set out to do.
Right.
They already did it, then they go do it again. They already said it, then they go say it again. Or somebody else already said it, then they go say it again. See, that's one of the disciplines in dialogue. If somebody already said what I was getting ready to say, then I don't have to say it.
That's right.
If I already said it one time, I don't have to say it 2 times and 5 times and 10 times. Because the better part of dialogue is not talking, it's listening.
Yes.
So if you're actually listening to what people say, then you do not have to be repetitive. Because that would just waste a whole lot of time. So one of the things that's important to answer the question, what's next, is to say, okay, what has already been accomplished? What is there that is yet to do? Where do we go from here? Well, in order to answer that question, we have to discover where are we right now? Some people get stuck in a time trap. Something happened to them 7 years ago, 5 years ago, last month, and they stuck in the past over what happened way back then. Well, that's not what's next. What's in the past is not next. You got things backwards. Time moves forward, not back. So in other words, where should our attention be? Where should our energy be put? It should be in the future tense, not past tense. Who cares really what happened in the past? Whatever it was, you survived it. And as bad as it may have been, there was also some good in it, wasn't it? There's always a silver cloud, don't care how, a silver lining, I don't care how dark the cloud is. So what was the good that was gained from what has happened in the past? Let's accumulate it in the present, and let's decide what to do with it as we go forward into the future. So does that make sense to anybody?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes.
Have I made any sense so far as to what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
We are moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Should I say that again, even though that would be repetitious? We are moving forward.
That's right.
We're not looking back, we're moving forward. There's nothing in the past that is worth preserving. It's what we bring forth from the past and make it into something new for the future. That's what counts. So let's take a look at the next image. You have to know where you've been to know where you're going.
Allahu Akbar.
That's why you just take a brief glance in the rear view mirror. You don't take a long, lingering look in the rear view mirror. If you do that, you're going to crash.
That's right.
So you can glance to the past. So we took a glance all the way back into ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. And we found out that this is not the first God of the resurrection that ever was. Master Fawad Muhammad is not the first God of the resurrection. Osiris was the God of the resurrection. He resurrected his people. So this thing about resurrection, hey, it's been going on a long time. Evidently, civilizations rise and fall. And when they fall, then a resurrection is necessary. So we have been a great and mighty nation in the past, but then there was a fall. And so now a resurrection is necessary and a resurrection is taking place. So that's what we want to take a look at. Evidence of the resurrection. That we're not just flapping our lips, talking about things that are not real. But we're talking about something that is real. That which was dead has now been brought to life. The breath of life has been breathed into a dead nation. Minister Farrakhan declared that the Nation of Islam had gone flatline in 2010. And so I don't know how that set with you, but I'm a doctor. I've seen flat lines in emergency situations. And I know what to do when you see a flat line. You do an electroshock and other things that seem drastic. I mean, suppose you shock somebody with those electro pads that they use. Shock somebody with 400 volts of electricity. Somebody claimed that you are committing a crime, that you're doing something wrong. Why are you attacking those people like that? No, I'm bringing them back to life with an electric shock, the shock of the hour. What do you think that means? That you weren't going to get shocked? And that's what we've seen in the response of some people. Some people are shocked. How dare you say what you said? How dare you reveal what you revealed? They're shocked. They're in shock. Some of them so much in shock they almost passed out. So now if you didn't go into shock and have a fit, that's because you're in alignment with the will and purpose of the God of the resurrection.
Allahu Akbar.
The ones that are so shocked and bent out of shape, those are the ones that are not in alignment. That's why they're being punished. Don't you understand?
Yes, sir.
When you see these people crying out in pain, they're being punished. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the day would come that you would see people acting as though they're crazy, but they're not crazy. They're under the chastisement of Allah.
That's what he said.
So now, if you're not whirling around in circles of confusion, then that's evidence that you should chalk up and credit to yourself that you evidently, to some degree at least, are in alignment with the thinking and purpose of Master Fard Muhammad, and other people are not.
Yes, sir.
And that's the difference between your condition and their condition. If you are aligned, and to the degree that you are aligned with the thinking and purpose of Master Fard Muhammad, then you are enjoying heaven while you live.
Yes, sir.
Allahu Akbar.
To the degree that you are out of alignment with his thinking and purpose, then your life is hell. And it will continue to be hell until you bring your will and purpose into alignment with his. And if you don't do it, then there is a limit that is imposed on you, and you will become among the losers, the liars who lost. And you lost everything forever. So prayer and fasting is in alignment with the will and purpose of Master Fard Muhammad. We would not be praying unless he came and told us how to pray. And we would not be fasting except that he came and gave us how to eat to live. And that's why we do it, because he gave it to us.
Yes.
Now, all Muslims pray and all Muslims fast, at least in theory. But of course, they don't know who they're praying to. All of them say in the name of Allah, but they don't know the name of Allah. So we are the lucky Muslims in the world who actually know the personal and proper name of Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
So this brings an intensification into our prayers, because while all Muslims are praying in the name of Allah, yet if you don't actually know the name of Allah, since every Muslim is in Allah, which Allah is going to answer your prayer? It could be any of the Allahs answering your prayer. Or maybe all the Allahs think some other Allah is going to answer your prayer and has nothing to do with them. And so they ignore your prayer. But we're not like that. When we say in the name of Allah, we're talking about Master Fard Muhammad.
That's right.
So our prayer goes directly to the Lord of the worlds, the master of this day of judgment. And so that's why the guidance that we receive from Master Fard Muhammad, in the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is unequaled guidance. There is no guidance that is better than the guidance of Master Fard Muhammad. And we, you could say, have his personal phone number.
Yes.
We can get in touch with him any old time.
Praise be
And he don't mind us calling on him because he's our friend. He doesn't get irritated if we call on him. He wants us to call on him. He wants to prove his friendship. He wants to prove his power as being God. He wants to show us that he is our Savior. He wants to show us that he has power over our enemies, and if we would call on him, that he would defeat our enemies for us and open up a way out of no way. See, Master Fard Muhammad said that if he could just get 1/10 of the worship that is given to the dead Jesus, that he would set us in heaven at once.
Yes.
So that's what this is all about. We're trying to drum up the worship of Master Fard Muhammad to at least 10%. If we can just get 10% of our people on board with the will and purpose of Master Fard Muhammad, praying as he taught us to pray, fasting as he taught us to fast. If we could just get 10% of our people to do that, his promise is he would set all of us in heaven at once. He said that he would even save some that haven't done any good at all. So don't you want that for yourself, and don't you want that for your people?
Yes, sir.
Well, then what should we do? You see, we're answering the question, what's next? Hey, continue to pray, continue to fast, because you see where it has already led us. You already see the self-improvement that you as an individual person have received just because you did that. Even in the beginning, if you didn't even know why you were doing it or what you were doing, now you have a better idea about it.
Praise be to
And now you're learning that the goodness that you have received, the blessing that you have received through your prayer and fasting can be extended to other people. It can be extended to other people. It can be extended to other people.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
That your sphere of influence, your force and your power is not just confined to yourself.
That's right.
Your goodness and righteousness and discipline can be extended to other people, whether they are aware of it or not. And so that's why we want to take a look at what has already been accomplished. So I don't see anything on the screen, Chief. Let's take a look at the next image. Now, one thing that has already been learned that was very clear from all of the comments that came in that I've seen, and I'm sure you've gotten a set of your own, and maybe we ought to do a tabulation. But based on what I have seen that came into me, I did not find that anybody expressed disagreement with prayer and fasting.
praise be to Allah.
There was nobody that, no matter how crazy they may have been otherwise, there was nobody that wrote in or sent a text message or communicated in any way that they thought prayer and fasting was a bad idea.
Woo-woo.
Nobody said that.
Attribute. It's
So in other words, as a unanimous consent, no matter where you are on the spectrum of other issues, there's unanimous consent that we as a nation of people need to engage in prayer and fasting. There was nobody in opposition to that.
Nobody.
And I'll tell you another thing that I noticed. There was nobody that spoke in opposition to the 9 ministries.
praise be to Allah.
There was nobody that said we don't need a ministry of communication. There was nobody that said we don't need a ministry of health and human services. There was nobody that said that. So in other words, the result of this month-long national dialogue is that we have achieved consensus on 2 basic issues. That we need to pray and fast. In other words, as much as we're doing already, see, now we have consensus among all of our people, all of the people who have been touched in the last month by this deliberative dialogue. And of course, it's going to go on. It doesn't come to an immediate stop. But everybody that is touched by this national dialogue is now going to start praying more than they used to.
Yes.
See, I don't care who you're talking to. Anybody that has listened to any one of these broadcasts, they're praying more than they used to.
Yes, sir.
Because we heard from some people, they say they haven't prayed in years. I bet they're praying now.
Praise be to
They might not be, they might not get all 5 in, hey, but they're getting 3 in, they're getting 2 in.
Right.
Well, who gets the credit for that? See, prayer and fasting.
Yeah.
Your example has inspired people that you don't even know.
That's right.
I sent a verse from the Quran to Chief a few days ago. See, what you have to understand is the fear that gets induced in people because of your fasting. See, go read in the Quran when the 2 angels showed up in Sodom and Gomorrah. And they refused to eat. And it said it conceived fear in the hearts of the people. See, because what kind of people were these that don't eat? See, that sounded real strange. What kind of people are these? Everybody gives in to their base appetites, base instincts, base desires. I mean, if these people refuse food when it's offered to them, hey, they're going to refuse sex if it's offered to them. They're going to refuse every type of evil when it's offered to them.
Yes, sir.
See, the discipline of fasting seems to be centered around food, staying away from food. But fasting is not just staying away from food, it's staying away from fornication.
Come on, man.
You're staying away from laziness.
Yeah.
You're staying away from gossip. You're staying away from insanity.
All the above.
See, look at the fast that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had on us prior to 75, which needs to be reimposed. See, not only did he have us fasting from food, he had us fasting from television. See, that was a fast. No television. See, can you do that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, one of the things that I said to some people, you know, in the dialogue over the last month, one sister, when she listened to Brother Melchizedek, see, he was a part of the national dialogue, and he's all over YouTube. So you can listen to him anytime. And I had made a comment because I listened to him for the first time. I said, wow, this is like it was prior to 75. This man carries the spirit of the brothers that taught me. He's from the generation that taught me. I mean, I love what he was saying and the way he said it. But then the response came back from one sister. She said, "Oh, he sounds like he's country. He's in a country, like he's country up in the big city." So what did that tell me about that sister? That she would not have liked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
See, there's a lot of people who claim that they're Muslims today, but actually, if they had been around in the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they would not have liked him. See, they think that they would like him, but actually, if they had been around when he was among us, they would have been among those who would not have liked them. They would have made mockery of him because he sounded like he was country in the big city. See, a lot of people who claim that they're Muslims today, see, if they had been in the Nation of Islam in the presence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they would have dropped out. I mean, I can't watch my stories on TV. I can't watch As the World Turns or whatever they're watching now.
Right.
See, a lot of sisters, they would have dropped out.
Right.
I can't do without my stories, Mr. Muhammad. I love your teaching, but I'm addicted to TV. I'm addicted to movies. The devil got me hooked on these things, and I can't give it up. See, a lot of brothers now in the nation, they wouldn't have stayed in the ranks prior to 75 in the presence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's supreme captain, Raymond Sharif, would have made you sell some papers. See how many brothers that consider themselves to be FOI today, how many of them could sell 300 papers in a week? How many are doing that right now? And that was the minimum. You see, so a whole lot of brothers, they joined up in the nation, but when they found out that they had to sell 300 papers a week, you didn't see them no more. You didn't see them no more. You see, so what we're finding out, you see, through this national deliberative dialogue is we're getting a better idea, or people are getting a better idea of what it was like back then. And they're getting a look at the way it is now. And they then get an idea or a vision of how it could be.
Right.
Yes.
And then they decide whether they want to go back to the way it was or keep it the way it is, or go on to something that is better in the future. See, that's what's going on now. People are deciding whether they are satisfied or not. And one of the things that I would say, I mean, not officially, but all of the feedback that I'm getting from the deliberative dialogue, and maybe that you're getting, is that there's a 100% dissatisfaction.
Yes.
We didn't find any opposition to prayer and fasting, no opposition to the 9 ministries, but 100% dissatisfaction. I don't think one person indicated that they were 100% satisfied with the way things are.
That's right.
Now, here's the negative part. And I could tell that not many people have read the manual on deliberative dialogue, because all of the negative comments were personal attacks. See, no one was in opposition to prayer and fasting. Nobody was in opposition to the 9 ministries. But there were some people who were in opposition to me. They don't like me. It's personal. They don't have a disagreement with what I represent. They love the 9 ministries. They want the 9 ministry, but they don't like me. See, it's personal. Some of the other negative comments. I don't like Brother Warren. Not paying attention to what Brother Warren is doing and the people with Brother Warren are doing. No, I just don't like him. In other words, it's petty and personal. And that's one of the rules in deliberative dialogue, is that in dialogue, we're not to point the finger of accusation at anybody. We're here to discuss an issue or a problem that affects all of us.
Right. Yes, sir.
And it's not proper in dialogue to put the blame, try to blame somebody. It's your fault. You're wrong. And it's all your fault. No. Dialogue can be, something like a jury trial, if you will, but not really for the most part. It's just a lawful, truthful, honest, straightforward conversation between intelligent human beings, where they share their viewpoints, their thoughts, and they try to achieve a consensus on what they think is true. And if they can do that, then whatever the problem was or the issue has been resolved. And it's not about the individual personalities of the people that are in the dialogue circle. The dialogue is not to define condemnation, and judgment against one another. That's a whole different concept. Dialogue is to solve a problem that affects all of us equally. That's why the circle is the symbol of equality. It's a symbol of perfection. And the reason why you don't engage in personality attacks, ad hominem attacks, is because God is at the center. Wherever 2 or 3 of you are gathered together in my name, there I am also in the midst of you. So you can't put yourself in the middle of the dialogue circle and make it all about you. Nor can you put somebody else in the middle of the circle and make it all about them. It's never about me. It's never about you.
That's right.
It's always about Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
And so we are sitting in a circle, almost like people, when they go camping, they sit around a campfire.
Yeah.
It's a circle around the campfire, and the campfire makes everybody warm and happy, and it lights up the whole area. Well, that's how dialogue is. But what's the fire that's burning at the center? What's the fire that burns at the center?
True.
So you haven't been paying attention. What's at the center of the dialogue circle?
Opinions.
God.
Thank you. Wherever 2 or 3 of you are gathered together in my name, there I am also in the midst of you.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
When you think somebody or something else is at the center of the dialogue, then you don't understand anything.
That's right.
And you won't get any results. So now who can't participate in deliberative dialogue? People that don't know God, people that don't believe in God.
That's right.
Because since they don't believe in God or don't know God, hey, then they put a substitute in the center of the circle. And a lot of times, since they're so egotistical, they put themselves at the center of the circle. Everybody talk about me. Everybody pay attention to me. It's all about me. No, it's not. It's never been all about you. It's always been all about Allah.
That's right.
And so whatever issue that is under consideration in the dialogue, hey, doesn't Allah have a connection to that? Since Allah is connected to everything that's real?
Yes, sir.
So then through us, Allah can reveal the solution to any problem, to any dilemma. If you understand that that's what the situation is, Allah is at the center. See, so now when you find people who do not want Allah to be at the center of their existence, then you're finding people who don't want to participate in dialogue. That's why they don't want to participate. They don't want to make Allah first. They want to make themselves first. They don't want to make Allah the object, the exclusive object of their worship. No, they want a share of that worship. Yeah, you can give some to Allah, but give some to me. You see, and so they can't participate in a lawful dialogue. So one of the great benefits of compelling people in various ways into a dialogue is you find out who's who. See, Allah, it says in the Quran that he tries us so that he can tell the liars from the truthful ones.
Yes, sir.
Well, how do we tell the liars from the truthful ones? Through dialogue.
Yes.
How else can you tell whether somebody's telling the truth or whether they're lying? Again, not you don't all of us are lying to some extent. I mean, right now, do you think that everything that I'm saying is 100% true?
No.
No, of course not. I'm doing the best I can
Right.
to be truthful. But if somebody put an examining lens on every little thing that I'm saying, I'm making all kinds of mistakes. And I hope that Allah protects you from the mistakes that I might be making, even as I'm trying my best to tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
So how can the truth that I'm saying or anyone says, how can that be separated from the falsehood that's also there?
Delivered to
I can't separate it myself because I can't tell the difference. As far as I can tell, everything I'm saying is true, but from your point of view, no, brother, you made a mistake. And see, that's where the correction comes in. Oh, no, brother, you made a mistake. You said it this way and it goes another way. Well, now, should I get angry because someone corrected me?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, that's the benefit. Oh, I was trying to be right, and maybe I was 89% right. And now somebody corrected me on the other 11%. So now, at least on that point, now I'm 100% correct. And so if that goes on and on and on repeatedly, you see, then everybody's thought process gets corrected. Let me say that again.
Yes.
One of the benefits of dialogue is that everybody's thought process gets examined and corrected. So you come out with a better thought process than you went in with. You come out with a better idea of what is true than you had when you went into dialogue. And that's the benefit. So now if we can bring up some of those images, Chief, I want to go through them as quickly as I can. It's samples of some of the dialogue. And so, speaking as the Minister of Health and Human Services for the Nation of Islam, let's do a checkup from the neck up. That's something Brother Collins used to always say. He said we did a checkup from the neck up.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at some of the responses that came in, at least to me. So now there's the whole concept. How does a nation of gods rule itself? Well, only through deliberative dialogue. You can't do it any other way.
No.
Now I know some people, they think they can do it some other way.
It's just-
Brother Ishmael told me that what do we need with deliberative dialogue? We just tell them what to do. Well, we can see how well that works. You can see how well that doesn't work. You can't tell these people what to do. No, you have to reason with them. And so that's what deliberative dialogue does. So if you can reason with people and they can reason with you, you see, then you arrive at a consensus and that builds unity. And with that unity, then you can make progress. So now this was the beginning of the Savior's Day week events, where Brother Ishmael delivered a message or attempted to deliver a message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who at the time was not expected to speak. Now think about that. Think about how great that was. All of us were under the impression that this Savior's Day would pass and we would not hear from Minister Farrakhan. But because we called for a dialogue,
Right.
we called for the dialogue.
Yes, sir.
So just as Allah called for the stars to come forth, some of them came forth willingly, and some of them came forth unwillingly. But nonetheless, all of them came forth.
Lord.
Who's the star of unequal brightness or brilliance?
Allah.
Allah himself.
Well, that's what was said of the minister, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Right.
How does it go, Chief? This star of unequal, how does that go? That the messenger said?
I'm the star without equal.
I am the star without equal, but nonetheless he came forth, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
He didn't intend to say anything, did he? Did he?
No, sir.
He said that Allah has shut his mouth.
Yes.
Well, who opened it?
Allah.
See, you need to think about these things. You changed the whole course of Savior's Day.
Allah Akbar.
You saw Brother Ishmael into a tailspin. He had a whole plan. He had a whole speech. He had a whole thing that he was intending to do. And then all of a sudden, you saw him into a tailspin. He didn't know what to do.
At all.
Because all of a sudden, the minister entered the dialogue. He became a part of the dialogue. He was compelled to be part of the dialogue, whether he wanted to do it or not.
Oh, no.
Which shows you what?
Allah.
There's a greater power involved in this. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
The stammering tongue must speak clearly. Today, you can say you want to remain silent today, but you can't remain silent today.
Come on.
You must stand up and bear witness and reveal what is in your heart.
Yep.
This is the day of revelation.
Yep.
And so, prayer and fasting, responding to the murmuring of the people, made a call for a national deliberative dialogue, and it commenced on the 22nd day of February.
All right.
And we heard from the highest authority in the Nation of Islam. And what we witnessed, now this is my opinion, you don't have to agree. See, isn't that the nice thing about deliberative dialogue?
Yes, sir.
That I can have my opinion and you can have yours.
Yes, sir.
And you don't have to agree with me and I don't have to agree with you.
That's right.
But I have to agree the truth that you have. And guess what? You have to agree with the truth that I have.
That's right.
And the part that separates us in disagreement, we can cast that aside and we can hold on to the truth that unites us.
Yes, sir.
So this was the kickoff. And of course, what was the title? We must make our community a decent and safe place to live.
Yes.
Well, this was my response to that. What do you think the 9 ministries is for? Except to make our communities a decent and safe place to live.
That's right.
Do you have another way of making our communities a decent and safe place to live? See, now, on that day, the 22nd of February, I didn't know that 100% of people were in favor of the 9 ministries.
That's right.
So now a month later, you see, the minister, Brother Ishmael, the National Council, what have they found out? They found out the same thing we found out. If they've been paying attention, that everybody's in favor of the 9 ministries.
Yes.
So now how can Minister Ishmael get out of the tailspin that he was put in? By promoting the 9 ministries.
Better implement.
And praying.
I mean, a lot of the people, I'm just being honest now, the general opinion around the nation as I perceive it, Brother Ishmael doesn't have a very high standing in the opinion of most of the believers.
At all.
At all. And so I think that's because, he's been in the shadow of the minister. Imagine that, I mean, that's just like a lot of musicians. They were great musicians, but they were in the shadow of John Coltrane. So nobody ever listened to them. They were listening to Coltrane.
Yeah.
And so who actually knows how great Minister Ishmael is? You don't even know. He never had a chance to do anything on his own. And so as his big brother, you see, what advice would I offer him so that he could be successful as the newly anointed leader of the Nation of Islam?
Implement
The 9 minutes, yeah, that's all he has to do if he wants to be successful. Now, many people don't realize that Minister Ishmael helped to develop the 9 ministries. If you look in the book of Acts, and I showed this on previous broadcasts, Minister Ishmael was a part of the deliberative dialogue that developed the 9 ministries and the program initiatives and the task force groups. He was a part of that. He voted on all these things. So even though the 9 ministries might be new to you, maybe you don't know much about it, you haven't heard anything about it all that much, but Minister Ishmael knows all about it. The minister knows all about it. Now, some of the newer members on the National Council, they don't know anything about it. But some of the original members, they know all about it. They were a part of it. When we voted on the 9 ministries program initiatives, who was the parliamentarian over the deliberative dialogue sessions? Brother Arif, the general counsel. He was the parliamentarian. He made sure that all of it was done according to correct procedure. So all of the program initiatives that were passed by the commission, it had the full endorsement of all of these people. So again, one of the things that has come out that people, especially those that are new in the last 20 years in the nation, they thought that they may have thought that I was out here on my own, coming up with something new as a challenge to to the nation, or however they want to put it. And they don't know that all of these people were involved in this from the very beginning. And they know everything about it. And so it's not new to them, even if it's new to you. And so what I would recommend to Minister Ishmael, hey, why don't you be the one that brings in the 9 ministries to satisfy the needs of the people, since you know that you have unanimous support for getting that done. And if you try to do something else, then you don't have support. I mean, it's just that simple. You either do this and win, or you try to do something else and lose. It's just that simple. Next image, please. So that's my advice as a big brother to my little brother.
That's good advice, Dr. Brother Ishmael.
Yes, I agree.
Great to speak to Allah.
Now, would somebody read this for me, please? This is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of course.
Black man, who was once a slave in America, you have a way of escape. The way out is not on your own terms. It is on the condition that you submit to Allah God and come follow me. This is the only way out. I am the door and I have the way. I have the key to your salvation. Reject it and die.
Okay, is that plain enough?
Oh, yes, sir.
Is that plain enough?
Yes, sir.
In other words, when he says that I am the door, I mean, what do you think that means? That means that his programs
That's it.
are the way out of our present condition. And if you won't put into effect his programs. See, the Nation of Islam was never a personality cult. We never worshiped Honorable Elijah Muhammad's personality.
Come on now.
We put into effect his programs.
His programs. Yes, sir.
As I said, I think on the first broadcast with prayer and fasting, I didn't join the Nation of Islam to pray and fast. I joined the Nation of Islam to help the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put over his program. And then after that, that's when I found out about prayer and fasting later.
That's right.
But what attracted me was his programs. And so that's the way out. That's the salvation. And so the 9 ministries are built around, you know, the example of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He didn't use the term 9 ministries. But if you look at the areas of activity of the 9 ministries, you see that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was active and successful in all of those 9 areas. And we're just organizing it in a pattern that we can, you know, that we can kind of handle. He handled the whole thing within himself. Well, none of us are that smart. Which one of us are as smart as him? You ain't as smart as him. I'm not as smart as him. So I can't do what he did. He juggled all 9 balls all at the same time. He didn't drop one.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Well, I can't do that. You can't do that. The minister can't do that. So that's why we had to divide up the work into the 9 ministries. So that there's a chunk that I can handle, there's a chunk that you can handle. But nobody can handle everything like him. You're not like him.
No, sir.
So let's get some sense. You try to make yourself equal to him. You're not equal to him. Next image, please. So you see how the DNA is a spiral staircase?
Yes, sir.
See how that looks like a ladder?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's the stairway to heaven. See, that's the stairway to your heaven.
Yes,
See,
sir.
the DNA is the word of God within you. See, in the beginning was the word was with God. I would add the word is within you.
Yes.
Not just with God, it's within you. That's your DNA. That's the script that God wrote for you to live by. So now if you follow what is written in your DNA, your genetic code, if you live according to the nature in which you are created, then you will arrive in heaven over the course of your lifetime. Now, if you don't follow what is written in your genetic code, if you don't follow your DNA, then you will not arrive in heaven. So can someone please read this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see.
It says the DNA of a nation. Yes, ma'am. We believe that Allah appeared in the person of Master W. Fuad Muhammad.
Read the top.
Okay, Stairway to Heaven, the DNA of a nation. Number 12, we believe that Allah God appeared in the person of Master W. Fuad Muhammad, July 1930, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. We believe further and lastly that Allah is God, and besides Him, there is no God, and He will bring about a universal government of peace, wherein we can all live in peace together. The Word.
Okay, that is the word. You see, that is the DNA of our nation. Just like within your body cells, you have the DNA that makes you yourself. If something goes wrong in your DNA, then you're other than yourself. And in fact, you have become a cancer victim and you're going to die. Because if somebody can change your genetic information, you can't survive that.
Right.
You can't survive that. You can only survive when your DNA is intact and correct the way it was created in the beginning. So now this is the DNA of the Nation of Islam.
Good teaching.
See, now this is just point number 12 of what the Muslims believe. So now if you want to know what was the key to success of the Nation of Islam prior to 75, under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it was because we were very clear about our belief.
Yes, sir.
We believe that Allah, God, appeared in the person of Master Fuad Muhammad, the long-awaited Messiah,
Yes, sir.
the Mahdi.
Yes.
Now, since that time, you see, some people have changed this or attempted
Yes.
to. They say
Yes.
somebody else is the Messiah.
It's the fair
They say somebody else is the Mahdi. Now, I am attacked, and I'll show you some of the attacks.
Yes.
See, some people say Dr. Alim is a hypocrite.
No.
Right.
That's what they say. Dr. Alim is a hypocrite. Brother Warren is a hypocrite. Prayer and fasting is a bunch of hypocrites.
Defending Dr. Alim and defending Malik. Yes, sir. That's what
Well, now, I think you should look up the word hypocrite in the dictionary.
Definitely.
And I think you ought to check with the definition of hypocrite given by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
He said a hypocrite is one who comes in saying that he believes and then goes out saying that he disbelieves. Well, when have I ever been guilty of that? See, in 1968, when I joined the Nation of Islam and I read what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe, hey, I said I'm 100% with that. I don't disagree with any of that. And the point that really convinced me to join the nation, that I realized to make me know that I had made the correct decision, was point number 12. When I found out that God was a man, hey, that clinched it for me. See, because at first I was wondering, is this another one of those shaky religious cults based on all kinds of fantasies and fairy tales and make-believe? Am I going to have to let go of my sense of reason and logic and science? But when I found out that God was a man, oh, that made perfect sense to me. And then you actually know the name of the man. You know where he came from, and you know what he did, and you had conversations with him for 3.5 years.
That's right.
I said, well, I can latch on to something like that. And of course, that was the success of the nation as a whole. And that was the success of me as an individual. And that was the success of all of the individual believers that were in the Nation of Islam prior to 75. And that's why, however we started out, we ended up being very successful. I mean, the perfect example, of course, that everybody is familiar with is Malcolm X. Everybody knows that Malcolm was so bad That even in the penitentiary, among some of the worst people in the world, they looked at him and called him Satan. That's how bad Malcolm was. Other criminals called him Satan. But look what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did to Satan. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad converted Satan and made him into a good Muslim. Now that's showing you some spiritual power. When you can take Satan and convert him and make him into a Muslim and make him what the Ozzie Davis called him, the black and shining prince, or the shining black prince. Now that's showing you the power of the resurrecting force of Master Fawad Muhammad. So now anytime somebody changes the DNA in a living cell, you cause cancer and death. Anytime somebody changes the teachings, then you cause spiritual cancer and death, because that causes spiritual confusion. So one of the things that I noticed as I looked at the responses that came in from the dialogue is the tremendous amount of spiritual confusion. People are not clear about who the Mahdi is. People are not clear about who the Messiah is. People are not clear about who Jesus is or Christ. They have all kinds of divergent ideas about this, when in fact it's written in plain English on the back of the paper.
That's right.
So now anybody who said, and I don't see a lot of people join the nation believing different than this. So I'm not calling anybody a hypocrite. See, because there are plenty of people in the Nation of Islam, they never believed this. They never believed that Allah came in the person of Master Fawad Muhammad. They never believed that he was the Messiah. They never believed that he was the Mahdi. In other words, they're like the majority of people. They don't believe like this. It's only a minority of people who believe like this. So you have a lot of people who are in the Nation of Islam, they don't believe this. They believe something different than this. And they never claim to believe this. So I can't call them a hypocrite that they changed their mind. Now, there are some people who in the past said that they believed this, and they used to preach this. But then nowadays, they preach something different. You see, so I'll leave it up to you to decide who's being hypocritical and who's not. Next image, please. So you don't get to heaven if you change the teaching. That's the point. And we were warned not to change the teaching.
Yes, sir.
So now, see, this is the moment of decision. This is the point of decision. This is Judgment Day.
Yes, sir.
So every Muslim has to speak up for themselves. What do you believe? Do you believe what the Muslims believe, or do you believe something else? And a whole lot of people would say, well, I think I believe something else. I don't believe what point number 12 says. And of course, a whole lot of them would say, there's other points I don't believe in because you don't see me doing any of it. I don't put any of this into effect. So even if I said I believed it, I'm not doing anything with it, and mere belief counts for nothing. But it's very clear from what people say that many people have a problem with point number 12. They just cannot digest point number 12. And so anytime somebody challenges me, I say, I believe what the Muslims believe. Now, what do you believe? Do you believe what the Muslims believe, or do you believe something else? I believe what the Muslims believe. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but I believe what the Muslims believe. Next image, please. So if you believe something else, then are you a Muslim? So there it is in its entirety. And then, of course, at the bottom, look. Something was added that was not there originally. So I'm with Brother Melchizedek. Don't add anything to the teachings. Don't add anything. As harmless as it may seem, don't add anything, and don't take anything away. Leave it just the way it was given to us. And then that's success. See, that introduces confusion.
Yes.
Because it's not true. Nobody can understand that. Next image, please. So making his word our bond. See, it's up to us to fulfill the promise that Master Fawad Muhammad made to us and our people. So what better way do we have to restore trust than to build the 9 ministries so that people will understand that we weren't fooling, we weren't lying when we said all these things that we said. We just had a little setback and got confused and turned around. But now we're back. And the proof that we're back is look what we're doing. So the Quran says work, so Allah and the messenger and the believers will see your work. Well, right now, all the people have is a bunch of rhetoric. They don't see any work. They don't see any hospitals and schools and factories. They don't see any much farm agricultural work. There's no ministry of communication. There's no ministry of justice. So the people don't see anything. There's a lot of rhetoric. So how can we make his word our bond? You see, because this has to do with the condition of the nation. And shouldn't we be concerned about the condition of the nation instead of about personalities and who you like and who you don't like? Because isn't it the condition of the nation that has won the displeasure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad towards Minister Farrakhan? That's why Minister Farrakhan asked me to help him to reorganize and restructure the nation, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was displeased with him, not over his personality. It had nothing to do with the minister's personality. I'm sure the messenger loves the minister's personality just like you do. But he was displeased with the minister despite his charming personality because of the condition of the nation. The condition of the nation. The messenger is not concerned necessarily with the condition of one man. He wants to know what is the condition of the nation, because that has something to do with the condition of the believers. The greatest hope and desire of your brother is to have us in heaven at once while we live. So the messenger wants to hear from the minister at once. How well are you doing, brother? Have you put the people in heaven while they live? And if you haven't, then I'm displeased. And so again, the criticism that hopefully is constructive, that's going on now with this national deliberative dialogue, is over the condition of the nation. It has nothing to do with personalities. Do you like the minister or don't like the minister? It has nothing to do. Do you like Brother Alim, like Brother Warren, like Pram, like this one, like that one? That's childish. I don't care if you like my personality or not. Suppose I don't like yours. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't work together. You see, so we have to rise above these lower emotions into the thinking of God. See, what is God thinking about there? That's Master Fawad Muhammad. What do you think he's thinking about?
Come on.
Versus what you're thinking about. What do you think he's thinking about?
Petty stuff.
He already told you what he's thinking about. He wants to put you in heaven while you live. So what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about how to do that? How to get that done? Or you sitting around inventing fairy tales or pretending like it's already done and you haven't done anything. Next image, please. That's what some of the comments were. People were acting like all the work is already done.
Yes, sir.
Now, here's some of the comments. We're going to go through some of them. See, so now, I think I know where this came, who this came from, but it was sent to me anonymously. See, so this individual, see, now this is the checkup from the neck up. See, thank you, Dr. Alim, a.k.a. Mookie. Well, now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the whole thing, then I'm going to come back and make commentary. Okay? So thank you, Dr. Alim, a.k.a. Mookie, for exposing your envy and mockery of the Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you for exposing your rotten-hearted hypocrisy to the world. Thank you for allowing Allah to use you to get the rest of the rotten worms of hypocrisy like you out from among the true believers. Wow, isn't that something?
Wow.
So now thank you, Dr. Alim, a.k.a. Mookie. Well, Mookie is See, that's my tribal name. See, that's not a nickname. That's my medicine name. That name was given to me by my father. My father's side of the family, they're what you call black Indians. They live on the reservations on the Shinnecock tribe. I'm a member of the Shinnecock tribe on Long Island. So I'm half what you call Indian, Native American. So that's my medicine name. It means little lizard. That's not a nickname. So again, you see, everybody has to tell their own story. See, the general narrative says that we don't know our own original names. And that's generally true for most people. But like I say, half of my family is Native American. I know my original name. My original name is Mookie. That's my original name. So don't tell me I don't know my original name. And this is just an ignorant person trying to make mockery of what they don't know and what they don't understand. So he's thanking me. Well, you're certainly welcome. Thank you, Dr. Alim, a.k.a. Mookie, for exposing your envy and mockery of the Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Well, now we just took a look at point number 12. Did it say that Minister Farrakhan was the Messiah?
No, sir.
But this person seems to think that I'm mocking, I'm envious and mocking Minister Farrakhan because he thinks Minister Farrakhan is the Messiah. So what should this person do? What should this person do?
He should do some research.
Yeah, just read point number 12
Yeah.
and see if he believes like the Muslims believe. So now, evidently, he does not believe like the Muslims believe because he believes that Minister Farrakhan is the Messiah. And that's not what the Muslims believe. The Muslims believe that Master Fard Muhammad is the Messiah and the Mahdi.
Yes.
So now, how in the world could I be in a state of envy and mockery over a title that Minister Farrakhan does not possess? He's not the Messiah.
Peace, beloved.
Nice.
Teach what the Muslims believe. All praise to God.
So then he goes on to say, thank you for exposing your rotten-hearted hypocrisy to the world. Well, I hardly know how to respond to that. How does he know my heart is rotten?
He thinks everybody's heart is like his.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, there you go.
See, there's a psychological state where people make a confession through accusation
Right.
or
Right.
through projection. In other words, what they are guilty of, they project onto other people.
Right. Yes, sir.
So now I don't know who this person is. So certainly I don't know the state of their heart. But the Bible says that what is in the heart, comes out of the mouth.
That's right.
So this is obviously a very, very confused individual who doesn't know who the Messiah is, doesn't know who Minister Farrakhan is, doesn't know who I am, misidentifies everything. Thank you for allowing Allah to use you to get the rest of the rotten worms of hypocrisy like you out from among the true believers. Well, now, I don't know what or who he would consider the true believers to be. The true believers in what? People who truly believe that Minister Farrakhan is the Messiah? Well, certainly I'm not one of those. I don't believe he's the Messiah.
I don't either.
You see, because that doesn't agree with point number 12. So how can I believe with something that does not agree with point number 12 and call myself a true believer?
Right.
See, so I would have to qualify this. I'm I'm still the same believer that I was in 1968 when I said I believed in point number 12 and everything above point number 12. So now I would have to ask this person, what is your definition of a true believer? Somebody who has turned their back on point number 12? Well, if that's the case, then I guess you are correct that I have exposed hypocrisy. Because I have exposed people who don't believe in point number 12.
That's right.
See, now everybody that's listening to this or who will listen to this in the future, what must you answer? You must answer for yourself and to the public whether or not you believe in point number 12 as the Muslims believe, or whether you believe in some other teaching or some other belief system like this brother. This brother believes in something other than point number 12. And because I don't believe in something other than point number 12, he calls me a hypocrite.
That's right. They attack us.
But who's the hypocrite?
He is.
Well, maybe he never said he believed in point number 12 now. Remember now. See, there's a whole lot of people who never heard the truth about Master Farad Muhammad. Maybe the only thing he ever heard was that the minister is the Messiah. He never heard anything else.
Right.
That's
Right.
So then is it his fault if he's confused in his belief? No, he was mistaught. He was misled. And that's why he's so confused. Next image, please. And Allah is not the author of confusion. So again, there's what the Muslims believe. So you can read it for yourself or reread it to refamiliarize yourself. And then you can see for yourself how far people have deviated from these basic beliefs.
Yeah.
So I am exposing the hypocrisy, am I not? So he told the truth.
Yes, sir.
Next image, where that was concerned. Now see, the dialogue is taking place, breaking out all over the place.
Yeah.
Some people said I was wrong when I identified Wallace D. Muhammad as an FBI agent. Even though that was written in the Final Call newspaper, I think the first or second edition of the Final Call newspaper, the FBI documents were written there where they said Wallace D. Muhammad was an agent that we used in the assassination of Malcolm X. And then we used him again, to bring down the nation. It's all in the FBI documents. But little did I know that Gil Noble, the great journalist, may Allah be pleased with him, had interviewed Imam Wallace D. Muhammad, and it's on YouTube. And do you know that Wallace D. Muhammad openly admitted his association with the FBI and how he interacted with Malcolm and the FBI and all of that. And so, again, through deliberative dialogue, the truth comes out. The truth comes out about everybody. You see, so now all of those who followed Wallace D. Muhammad from 1975 all the way up to 2026. Now, what are you going to do now? Don't you know that you are following an FBI agent and FBI teachings? And you call that true Islam? You're following an FBI agent who treacherously betrayed Malcolm X and participated in his murder. And then later, I guess installed by the FBI as the leader over the Nation of Islam. Here's a man who said, I never believed that Master Farad Muhammad was God. I never believed that my father was the messenger of God. So then how could he lead the Nation of Islam? Well, he didn't. He destroyed it under the guidance of the FBI. And of course, what was the payoff? Well, almost within 6 months, the Defense Department gave the Nation of Islam a $5 million contract to make food for the military. So not only was he in league with the FBI, he's in league with the Pentagon, with the U.S. military. And he never believed in what his father was teaching. So again, deliberative dialogue brings out the truth. Many people were not alive when these things took place. And you've been misguided all the days of your life, but now the truth comes out. Now the shock of the hour hits you. You mean this man was false all along? Yes, he was false all along. He misled us from day one. Yes, he misled you from day one. He was actually a government agent. Yes.
Absolutely.
And he was the one that introduced Jim Jones to the black community. So was he a friend or a foe? See, I mean, the facts speak for themselves. And he, in his own words, admits that he was an FBI agent. Now, again, black people are used to that. Who else was an FBI informant? Al Sharpton? That don't stop black people from following him. Who else was an FBI informant and agent? Jesse Jackson?
Jesse Jackson.
That didn't stop people from following Jesse Jackson just because he was working for the FBI and had something to do with the murder of Martin Luther King. That didn't stop people from honoring him. So just because Wallace D. Muhammad was an FBI agent, that didn't stop people from following him and honoring him like he was legit. They used their own judgment. They would rather follow an FBI agent than someone anointed by God. Didn't the people choose Barabbas over Jesus?
Yes, sir.
Well, that people are no different today. They would rather have a crook than the real thing. They would rather have a liar than a man that tells the truth.
That's right.
Next image, please. People are no different today than they were yesterday. This is Barabbas. Next image, please. And the people loved him.
Right. They want to hear the lie and shut down the truth. They
That's
want the
right.
truth to-
Now look what happened in Iran with the assassination of the Ayatollah. And this is a very good interview that's on YouTube that you ought to listen to. The way in which the Iranians responded to the death of the Ayatollah, number one, and then the process by which they go through in order to select new leadership. And you see, they haven't skipped a beat. You see, because they have an orderly process by which they determine who should lead the nation. And so this is a very, very insightful interview that I would advise you to take a look at because there is a rational way for nations to handle these problems, the problems of succession, continuity of government. Every government has to have a way of handing power from one generation to the next. If it's all based on a personality, well, that personality is going to die. Then what happens when the man dies that you worship? Well, then you're going to have to invent a story that he didn't die and say he's going to come back sometime. Well, that's foolishness. These people don't think like that. That man died and became a martyr and inspired the entire nation. And now his son takes over to continue the war against the infidels to drive them out of the Holy Land. So now we should follow good examples that are in front of us. Next image, please. There's right ways and methods for doing everything. Now, this was part of the dialogue. I did a special report on the National Secretary's report from Savior's Day 1974, because that's the last time that the Nation of Islam actually received a progress report. We haven't received a progress report in almost 50 years. There's been no accounting in almost 50 years. And also, in the rebuilding effort of anything, you have to go back to where, the breakdown occurred and see what the condition was, at that time. And then you know how you have to rebuild it. So if this was a $50 million income report from the National Secretary, Abbas Rasul, okay, well, then when you say you're going to rebuild the nation, you got to at least get it to $50 million a year in income. And then, of course, we touched on all of the programs that were involved in generating $50 million in income. 34 million copies of Muhammad Speaks sold in that year. So the question today, how many final calls were sold in 2025? What's the press run of the final call? What's the income generated from the final call and other Nation of Islam businesses? What's the income being generated from the Salam You know, I mean, we have to have answers to these questions. And then once we know the answers to those questions, you see, then we know where we're starting from and what we have to do in order to reach our goals. So I would recommend that everybody go on YouTube. You can find the Savior's Day address of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Remember, this was the last public speech that he gave to us, along with this report of his progress and accomplishments over 40 years. This was the last that we heard his voice in public, and almost the last thing that he said before he dismissed the audience in 1974. He said, you don't have to ask what to do, just get up and do something. And so did we hear that or not? So some of us heard it and some of us didn't, because some of us are still sitting down doing nothing. When he said, get up, you don't have to ask what to do. And some of us are still asking other people what you should do. When in fact, he said, you don't have to ask. Just get up and do something. Next image, please. So people don't like to do what they were told. Can you go to the next one? I think these are out of order. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah. Can someone read this? This was a text that was I think it was put on my YouTube channel, Dr. Alim Muhammad on YouTube. So can someone
Yes, sir.
please read this, and then
Yes, sir.
we're going to go back to the previous one because they're just out of order.
Yes, sir. Concerning the need for government, point number 12 makes it clear that this is an action taking place in the future, which is now. That is the workship of the Savior that determines our relationship with him. The function of such a government is to carry out on earth the heavenly will of God. To get that done on a practical scale, governments are established in order, sorry, a phone call's coming in. Governments are established
In order that they may bestow the beneficence and mercy of Allah upon the people of God, so that God is real to them. So now
Yes,
go,
sir.
go back to the previous image. See, the brother was of the opinion that there was no that we already had a government. I mean, I guess that's pretty much what he was saying. If you can go back to the previous.
You gone? Oh, okay.
the previous text message.
Yes,
Chief.
the previous one.
Oh, okay. And you left already?
Here
Okay,
it is.
so please read that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the government, that's, one second, Mother Ali.
Would somebody please mute themselves in the background?
Mother Ali. Go ahead, sis.
Okay, yes, sir. That doesn't necessarily mean that the government does not exist in actuality. It can only exist to a person or be real to a person or be able to be experienced by that person if that person is in agreement with what makes it real. And that has been predetermined by Allah. Allah established the government and we are able to be his Khalifa. We can be Khalifa, a go trying to change what has already been established. Because then you don't get peace. You get nothing but chaos and confusion. There is no altering Allah's creation.
Okay, so now what is the mistake that is made in this person's thinking?
It is okay to alter Allah's creation.
Well, even before that, you see, what time does he think? See, he thinks that a government has already been established when, if you look around, you don't see any evidence that there is a government. See, he says it can only exist to a person or be real to a person or be able to be experienced by that person if that person is in agreement with what makes it real, and that has been predetermined by Allah. Well, point number 12 says that Allah will bring about a government of peace. Well, that puts it in the future. Well, how does Allah bring about a government of peace in the future? Except through us. So now this person evidently doesn't pay attention to actual facts. With no evidence that there is actually a government of the Nation of Islam, he claims that there is. You see, so again, this is, I hate to say it, but it's just true. This is a person who is living in an hallucination. This person is hallucinating that there is a government when there's no government. This is hallucination. This is fantasy. This is detachment from reality. He thinks that he has something when there's nothing there. And so a lot of people are like that. They have plenty of nothing and nothing's good enough for them. They love the devil because the devil gives them nothing. So they're looking at nothing and they're satisfied with nothing. He thinks he thinks that there actually is a government that runs the Nation of Islam when there's no evidence that any such thing exists. Next image, please. So we have to stop hallucinating. We have to regain mental health. Next one, please. See, so point number 12 is a future work, and the future is now. So if we're going to make point number 12 come true, which is to say, make Master Fard Muhammad's promise our word and our bond, you see, we do that through the 9 ministries. So go to the next one, please. Would you read this, please?
Yes, sir. Those people who are satisfied with nothing will have no idea about what I'm talking about, nor will they see any need for any work to be done.
Okay, stop.
Especially at them.
Stop.
Yes, sir.
See, that's a very important point. See, someone who's satisfied is not going to get up and do any work. So here's a person who's satisfied with nothing. They think everything is great. So then when they hear someone like me or you talking about we need to build the 9 ministries, we need to do this, we need to put in the program initiatives, we got all this, that, he doesn't think that's necessary. He's satisfied. So then when someone is satisfied like that with nothing, they completely misunderstand the need for getting something done. Why do anything? Everything's all right already. You see, hallucinating, looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses. Okay, would you continue reading, please?
It's because being blind, they cannot see anything in front of them, nor can they do any work in the darkness of their ignorance. Therefore, they are counted as useless in the building of the kingdom of God, which by definition means a government. Savage people live a beast life, don't have governments among themselves. They are.
Yeah, that goes on. But
Yes, sir.
again, so when someone makes a statement like that says no government is government, obviously that's a contradiction and a false statement. But again, when somebody is completely satisfied, they don't see the need to do anything else. And then people who are living a savage life, living a beast life. Well, that's what it means to live a beast life. That's what it means to be a savage, that you don't have any governance. And so a lot of our people are still living a beast life. They're living a savage life. They don't have any structure in their life. They don't have any discipline. They don't have any limits. They're just out there wild and savage. And so part of the mission of the Nation of Islam is to civilize our people. And until they're civilized, you see, they'll remain savages. And that's the duty of a civilized man, is to
Yes, sir.
teach the uncivilized civilization. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to leave it up to every individual one of us to go out and try to find somebody to civilize? No, that's what you set up governments for. How do you civilize savages? You set up schools. They're only savage and living a beast life because they're ignorant. So if you have an educational system, you set it up and you put them in the schools and you teach them and you educate them, and after a while, they're no longer savage. You also show them by example how to live like a civilized person, how to treat one another. You put into practice the rules of the prophets, the commandments of the prophets. That's how you civilize a savage people. But you can't do that one-on-one individually. No, that has to be done collectively by a government. That's why governments are composed in the first place. Because everybody would be savage if there was nothing to enforce the law, nothing to enforce good behavior, if there was no social contract between the government and the people. Then it's the law of the jungle, every man for himself. So then when you look at the Nation of Islam today, you can't hardly see any traces of a government, and that's why everything is savage. That's why everybody is not everybody, but that's why people are living a beast life, living like savages, claiming to be Muslims, because they don't have a government that keeps things in balance. They don't have checks and balances on what they do. You have people that run away and do anything they want, and there's no check on them. And so that's what governments are for, is to ensure that the rights of the people are being observed and enforced, and that the people are being protected from their enemies. Next image, please. They call that a social contract. So this was a part of the dialogue. Brother Jabril's wife did a video, what happened to Brother Jabril, because there's questions about Brother Jabril. Well, when I saw that, I said, well, wait a minute. That's a clue that I should pick up on, because people have questions about what happened to Minister Farrakhan, and that involves me, because I was there. You see, it has something to do with it. So I had an obligation, hey, to join the dialogue. Okay, here's what happened to Minister Farrakhan. And that ended up being a 3-part YouTube series. So if you haven't seen it yet, if you have a question, what really happened with the near-death experience of Minister Farrakhan, so that you understand what's really going on. Next image, please. See, deliberative dialogue brings out the truth of all things. See, on that particular issue there, what people have heard about that isn't the truth, because they were listening to people who weren't even there. And they just made up stories, just like this brother hallucinating about a government that doesn't exist. So now people started making up stories about what happened to Minister Farrakhan. And so with deliberative dialogue, we're able to put the truth out there so that people actually understand. And then they can respond to what they hear, until they are satisfied within themselves that it is the truth. Then we can move on. So that's just a sampling of some of the dialogue that's been going on. I probably had about 50 more encounters with different people about different things, and of course, if you go on YouTube, where I hang out a lot, you'll see Brother Melchizedek all over the place. There's people doing interviews of this one and that one. The Nation of Islam is all over the place. The Theology of Time is there. All the Savior's Day lectures are there. So I would say to people in the Nation of Islam right now, this is a golden age. This is a golden age of information. There's more information available today about the Nation of Islam and the root teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad than we ever had. We never had this much information available to us. So right now, ignorance is a choice. If you don't actually understand these teachings today and you're still confused about who's who and what's what, hey, that's a choice that you have made because the information is out there. So do your homework. Now, one other thing before I bring my remarks to a close. Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz gets a lot of credit, and the people that are working with him for the Savior's Day week events. And he had proposed that there be a follow-up conference on the 21st of March. So I don't know what really happened there. Maybe it was just a little bit too ambitious to do it so soon. But I think at some point going forward, maybe in June, maybe July the 4th, we should convene a national Congress. I'm calling it a Congress on the survival of the nation, the survival and the development of the nation. We need to have all of the stakeholders, which is all of us, who say that we are believers and followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All of us are the stakeholders. So we need to convene a Congress to discuss the issues that have to do with the survival of the Black nation and the development of the Black nation. And so we can put our ideas together and come up with a solution to what confronts us. Because the way things look, I think America is going to disappear in about the next 12 months. And so those of us who have been completely dependent on America, and we think America is going to be here forever, and that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't know what he was talking about, and that Master Farad Muhammad is not really the master of the Day of Judgment, that somebody else is, that we got enough time for somebody to die and go away and come back another time. See, that's all crazy. You see, so we need to have a Congress as soon as possible, maybe July the 4th. Wouldn't that be something? Suppose we convened a national Congress on the survival of the Black nation and the development of the Black nation. Suppose we convene a national Congress on July the 4th, 2026, and put all these issues on the table that have to do with our survival and our development as a nation. And then bring all the important stakeholders in all those different areas, and we can iron out a program of progress and development. So I'm putting that out there in the atmosphere. You see, I'm saying that's what we need to do. And maybe doing it on the 21st day of March was a little bit too soon because we didn't have enough time to digest everything that's already been put on the table. But maybe by July, maybe we'll have enough time to do our research and study and organize the panels or the dialogue circles that need to happen and categorize everything, lay it out, bring in the experts that are among us, the people who have the knowledge and the experience in these different areas, and then we can come up with solutions. Otherwise, you see, if we don't have a plan of survival, then we probably won't survive. So I think, let me look at my notes here and make sure I touched on everything I meant to say. I think I did. We did a checkup from the neck up on some people. Now, one thing, let me just add one thing from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when I when I republish the manual on dialogue, I'm going to put this in. I forgot to put this in the first edition. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said like this. He said, think 5 times before you speak, and then maybe you will be right. Think 5 times before you speak, and then maybe you will be right. So if you don't think at all before you speak, chances are you'll be wrong. If you just think once or twice or 3 times, that's not enough. The messenger said, think 5 times before you speak, and then maybe you will be right. Even then, it's not a guarantee that you'll be right, but if you speak before you think, you most certainly will be wrong. So now what does thinking 5 times mean? Well, of course, you have to think for yourself. Whose thought is it? Are you just a Paul Parrot repeating what somebody else said? Or did you originate a thought? Is that even your thought? So if it's not your thought, then why would you say somebody else's thought? Why don't you say what is your thought? See, so that's the first think. The second think. If I say what I say, what does that mean in terms of Allah? That's the second thing. Is what I'm about to say consistent with the will and purpose of Allah? The third think, is it consistent with what the messenger has taught us? The fourth think is, what effect does this have on the believers? Is what I'm saying going to be constructive and positive and uplifting, or is it going to have the opposite effect? And then, of course, what's the fifth reason? Why am I saying it in the first place? Why I say it? Is there a good enough reason to say it? Even if all of the other things, it might be something that's true and consistent with Allah and the messenger and the believers, but is it really necessary for me to say it? Or do I just want to say it? To have something to say? Maybe what I was getting ready to say, somebody already said it. You see, so is it necessary? So think 5 times before you speak puts a delay. See, that's how you put your emotions in check. See, that brother that was calling me those names, he was having an emotional outburst. He was hysterical. Obviously, he didn't think 5 times before he wrote what he wrote.
No, sir.
But I bet he is now. See, whoever that was, he's listening right now. And he heard what I said in response to what he wrote. Guess what he's doing right now? He's thinking about that. He said, yeah, I really did sound crazy, didn't I? So now guess what he's going to write the next time? He's going to write something better than what he wrote the first time. And his thought process won't be as crazy as it was the first time. Why? Because he said something crazy and then he got a rational answer back. He didn't know his thinking was off base. He didn't think he was crazy. He actually thought he was making sense. But when he gets a rational response back to his craziness, now he sees how far off he was from being a rational human being. And then he might decide, you know what? I guess everybody sees how crazy I am. I better watch what I say. I better follow what the messenger said. I better think 5 times before I speak the next time. And then maybe I won't come off so crazy, so ignorant, so foolish, so out of touch with reality. So I wanted to say that we should keep that in mind. Think 5 times before you speak. And then maybe you'll be right. Now, one final point, I should have said it earlier, when we were talking about, is it possible that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive? Well, obviously, my position is very clear, and it always has been very clear. No, I don't believe that. How could I believe that when I know the medical condition of the messenger? When I talk doctor to doctor to his personal physician, the one who wrote the death certificate. Now, how am I supposed to ignore all of that and the testimony of his own family that they dressed the body? I was at the funeral. So now, someone comes 6 years later saying that the man that was buried and died in 1975 is alive? Well, who's going to believe that? Certainly not me. But now, somebody said, well, how come you were with the minister all those years when he was teaching that the messenger was alive and you didn't believe it? Have you ever heard of the attribute of patience? Have you ever heard of patience?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I was being patient. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, brother minister. And I will patiently await the presentation of further evidence. I will bide my time. I'm open-minded. I don't think that a dead man can come back to life. That would be contrary to what Allah taught us. That would be contrary to what the messenger taught us. But out of respect for you, brother minister, I hear what you're saying. And I'll exercise patience because I don't know everything. Maybe you know something that I don't know. I know what the doctor said. I know what the birth certificate said. I mean the death certificate. So I have an open mind. Maybe you're going to present some astounding evidence that will completely change the laws of nature and science. So I'm open-minded. And I'm patient. I'll wait as long as it takes to see the evidence. But until I see some evidence beyond what has been presented, no, I don't change my belief or what I know about. And so since 1981 till now, I haven't seen any evidence, further evidence, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive. Where's the evidence? So now, what I have said to myself in my being patient, well, I don't know everything. Suppose he is alive. I mean, I don't think so, but I could be wrong. And suppose he is. Well, if he is alive, then it means he could show up at any minute. Right? He could show up at any minute. He could knock on my door. He could knock on your door if he's alive. He could walk into Mount Mariam if he's alive.
Right.
So just in case he might be alive and shows up at my door, maybe he wants something to eat. Well, what kind of bean soup do I have to give the Honorable Elijah Muhammad if he's still alive? So he can stay alive. Could he come to your house and get a good bowl of bean soup?
Come on now.
Suppose he wanted some bean pie for dessert. Suppose he wanted some raw milk. Do you have that in your house in case he showed up since you say he's alive?
Yes, sir.
How would he find you? Would he recognize you as one of his followers? Even though you weigh 500 pounds, got rolls of fat all over your, under your neck and under your chin, your big gut hanging out, and you claim that you are a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
My God.
Would he accept you? If he came into your mosque and sat in the back, and you didn't recognize him because he came in disguise, and he listened to your lecture, what would he say about you? Would he say that's my teaching, or would he bust you on the spot for lying to his people?
Right.
On the spot.
See, so even though as a medical doctor, as a scientific, rational person, there's no way in the world that I could believe that a dead man came back to life. I can't believe that until you show me some extraordinary evidence. I would look like a fool believing that some dead man came back to life. So show me something so I won't feel like a fool.
Yes, sir.
Now, having said that, Here's what I noticed. See, because I'm not dead. I'm not dead, so I can watch and see. I can understand. I'm aware of what's going on. I see people, I hear people, because I'm not dead. And what I notice is the people who say that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive, they don't act like it.
That part.
And then the other part is they treat Minister Farrakhan like he's physically dead.
That's correct.
Isn't that something?
Yes, sir.
The same people who claim that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still alive treat the minister like he's dead. They don't do anything that he says do.
That's right.
By his own testimony. I've been preaching to you for 30 years and you haven't done anything. So why you treat the minister like he's dead and then at the same time claim that you believe the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is alive?
Break it down, break it down.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm giving a checkup from the neck up. You can clearly see these people are confused. They're crazy.
Yes, sir.
They're misled. They're off the path. And so the brother was right. I'm exposing the hypocrisy.
That's right.
Yes.
I can't say the brother's wrong. I am exposing it. And it needs to be exposed because it has misled so many. And it's misleading them to their destruction and to the loss of their salvation. And so then I have an obligation to at least speak up and say, hey, that's not the way it was. That's not the way it is. That's not the way it should be. Because otherwise, then their lives are on my hands in part. Because I could have said something that saved them.
Jesus.
So I think that about wraps it up for today. I think we should live like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is alive. And if you really believe it, then leave an empty chair at your dinner table.
That's right.
That's what the Jews do. They have a festival, I think they call it Seder or something like that.
Yeah.
And they leave an empty place at the table for Elijah. Why do they do that? They expect Elijah to show up. Jesus was looking for Elijah to show up on the cross. So if you really believe that Elijah Muhammad is physically alive, then leave a place for him at your dinner table.
Yes, sir.
Just in case he walks through the door. And then he will see that you actually were expecting him. And so I would say, whether you believe that he's physically alive or not, you should live as though he is. You should live as though he is watching you and listening to you. And you should be in fear and trepidation if you are behaving in a manner that would not please him.
That's right.
And you should think about what it would have been like. See, many of you are so young, you weren't even alive in 75. And so I would ask you to use your imagination. What would it have been like for you if you had been with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he was physically among us? Would you have been able to walk with him? To stand with him? Or would you have been one of those that fell by the wayside? Because there were many like that. So why are you so sure that you would have been among those that stood with the messenger? See, you need to think about that. You may be giving yourself more credit than you deserve. Because from what I can see, some of you wouldn't have lasted 30 days in the nation prior to 75. And some of you foul-mouthed ministers, you wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds. Till you would have been set down.
Yes, sir.
So now are we going to come back up to the standard or not? Are we going to clean ourselves up and purify ourselves up, purify our hearts, purify our mouths, purify our thoughts, and purify our relationship with one another? Well, if we're going to do that, then we have to get rid of the impurities. How are you going to purify yourself if you're full of impurities, impure teachings, impure food, impure thoughts, impure emotions? So the agenda is clear. It's either prayer and fasting or destruction. It's either the 9 ministries or destruction. You know, the two conspicuous ways have been pointed out to you. Which way do you want to go? Moses said that the way of death, the way of life. Which way do you want to go? What's your destiny? You say the question we started out with, what's next? Why don't you answer that question for yourself? What's next for you? What's next for you? Death or life? What's next for you? It depends on what you do. What's in your heart right now? What's in your heart right now to do? That's going to determine what happens to you. Don't you know that?
Yes.
So if what's in your heart right now is not up to the challenge of survival, then you better change your heart while you have the chance. How do you change your heart?
Right?
Prayer and fasting.
Hold on, hold on.
Come on.
And then maybe you will have heart enough, which is to say courage enough, to accept the challenge of the uphill road.
Right?
And to clearly define what the uphill road is called the 9 ministries. So that's all I have to say. So I thank you all for your kind attention on this bright Sunday morning, on the first day of spring, on the equinox. And so this has been a checkup from the neck up
Yes.
with the object of trying to balance your mind, the thinking of your mind. And from the samples that we got from the community, we see that we have some very imbalanced minds, you know, along with those that are balanced. And so we want to bring everything into balance so that we can give ourselves justice and equality and exercise our freedom as Muslims should. So thank you for your kind attention. May Allah bless us with the light of understanding. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Waalaikumsalam.
Thank
Well,
you,
you know,
Dr.
Doc,
Ray.
I don't know what. You must be fasting. This can't be a eat day. You must didn't eat yesterday. Something ain't right. You know, but this go, you know what? Now, I'm going to say this to the prayer and fasting family and to faith is over 1,000 views. Did I not tell y'all that if the students of Elijah Muhammad would keep prayer and fasting as the foundation of anything that they say out their mouth, that they would separate themselves, like Allah said, you are degrees above those
Yes,
who hold
sir.
back.
Yes,
It's not
sir.
holding back from this or that. It's holding back from your duty to Allah, which is prayer and fasting. Those kill demons. Which, if you pray and fast, you ain't got to worry about charity, which is love. You ain't got to worry about jihad. You don't have to worry about going to Hajj, because praying and fasting ignites all 5.
Yes.
It ignites all 5.
Yes, sir.
Prove it. Prayer makes you go to war with Satan. Fasting makes you go to war with Satan. That's jihad. Prayer and fasting humbles you, makes you love, makes you more charitable.
Yes, sir.
Prayer and fasting puts you on a pathway to Hajj, to get with God. Prayer and fasting is the 2 principles of Islam that ignite all 5. Fasting is the hardest of all principles, and it's the least and the last on the totem pole to be used in the church full of mosques.
Right.
And look how Doc looks like Jesus Christ.
Sir.
Don't start nothing now. Don't start nothing now. Don't start nothing.
If you want to see Jesus Christ, it's not a fairy tale, I hope and wish. It manifests. Doc already had weapons. But with praying and fasting, Allah says, move out the way.
Yes.
Doc, move out the way. Let me get them. It wasn't you who slew them, it was I who slew them at your hands. But you had to submit
That's right.
to these 2 principles. Don't worry about 5 of them, because it's going to eat the other 3 up. There's 5 principles. And what he did today, and I told y'all, if Nuri, Brother Hawk, and all of them, every Sunday, Ishmael, If they came out with praying and fasting is the foundation of this conversation I'm about to give you, and every now and then insert it, because what you're doing, you're igniting something that they don't even believe is inside of them because they're too headstrong. But you gotta get, and then you keep talking about it, you're gonna start fasting and praying.
That's
You
right.
can't keep talking about fasting and praying without doing it. You're willing it into existence, and that's what Doc did. And that's why Doc's his stuff is just epic. Because who can argue what did Minister Farrakhan say when we had the meeting, that business meeting? Who can argue praying and fasting? Your leader said that. Who
That's
can
right.
argue? I can't.
Right.
And now all the teachings of the Most High Muhammad, coupled with praying and fasting, it makes you no longer an idol worshiper. Allah lets you through to get through Jannah.
Yes.
He lets you get through Jannah. But when you Salam alaikum wa salam, every time Muhammad's name is, you think God said my other name is jealous?
Love.
God is a jealous
Yes,
God.
sir.
My other name is jealous. That's one of my attributes. That's what it says in the Bible. He said his other name is jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And I kill from the third, fourth, fifth generation of those who hate me. What Doc did today is just a wake-up call for all ministers. If you really want to practice Islam, put prayer and fasting in your recipe bowl. Because you not have it ain't even in the bowl, Doc. It ain't even in the bowl. We can't even feel you. And if anybody is going to go for any minister in the Nation of Islam, if you got any friend, it's a believer in Elijah Muhammad. We want you to win.
That's
We're
right.
in the audience wanting you to win. We're
That's
the
right.
ones that are, come on, brother, yes, sir. And we're ready to fight anybody in the
Yes.
audience who's saying, he's boring. He ain't boring to me. But we're waiting on you to submit to God in your ministry. If you submit to Allah in your ministry, then you already did a lot of work. God is not going to let your work go in vain.
That's right.
He'll catapult you to the skies in the New York second. Boom. He said in the twinkling of an eye, he'll put you in place. But first you got to bow down. Every tongue will confess and every knee will bow. It ain't in words. It's in actions. It's in prayer and fasting. You should not be arguing, Doc. You should not be arguing, Doc. And like Doc said, you never argue us about praying and fasting. You never argue us about denying ministries. You never do. You always slander us. That's one of our restrictive laws.
That's right.
You're slandering and defaming us. But you can't. But you're letting Satan use you to do this stuff. And then you sit back and be quiet. Look at how quiet. It's quiet on the set, Doc, all over the world.
That's right.
You know how they used to be at us? They used to be like, and they got beat up. It's not beating you up. We can't beat you up. That's your nature.
That's right.
We're beating up satanic forces who gain mastery over you. We're actually fighting the war in heaven. And we're actually casting him out of heaven. That's why y'all got quiet. Because you cast him out of heaven in your mind. And
All
now
praise
you're
is due
quiet.
to Allah. That's right.
Doc, do you see it?
I see it and I feel it.
They're
And I
quiet.
believe it.
The reason they're in rehab right now.
That's
They're
right.
in rehab because of the damage that Satan did to them. That's why they're so quiet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
When you get out of the hospital, you got to go to rehab when you were that damaged.
That's right.
You know, like you saw the minister. He was in rehab after that heavy surgery he had.
That's right.
You go to rehab. And when you get, and you're still using your surgical skills. But now you're using it in a diviner way. Because now I'm dealing with you in a much more godly way, because I can get a million different surgeons across America that be devils and everybody. But who can surgically remove Satan from the kingdom of heaven? Who can do that?
Very well said. Very well said.
Yes, very good.
So the messenger said that to his ministers, teach hard and then move out smartly. So after you drop the bomb, you don't stick around and see the damage. You move out smartly. So let me dismiss myself, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow on the prayer and fasting question and answers. at 9 a.m.
Lord.
Eastern Daylight Time. So
Yes,
assalamu alaikum. May
sir.
Allah bless and keep you and protect you, grant you success and prosperity and victory
Yes.
over the disbelieving people. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar. Wa alaikum salam.
Walaikum salam, Dr.
Walaikum salam, sir.